start right now. Dr. John Alloway of the Lenape tribe.
Good evening. As Beverly said, my clan are the original people here. Absolutely the first. And we've been around a long time. There's kind of some experts on surviving. A lot of these slides come from basically NOAA, which is National Oceanic and Atmospheric Agency. They have something called and they actually have a website, and you can get a lot of this information from that website. They have archives that go back a number of years. And what you can see is not only drought monitor, but earthquakes, volcanic activity, essentially all the earth changes that directly affect all of us. So, the first one is from February 28th of 2010. What you see the red is extreme drought conditions. And I mean extreme. We're talking bone dry. And as you see,
Where is that?
excuse me?
Where is that?
This is North America. Okay? The continent we live on. A difficult continent to live on. Not easy at all. Okay, this is from March 2003. Now, this is one of the more intense drought years. You'll notice the huge amount of red in the west, and I mean huge amount. You can see that the Mountain West in particular is not a great idea to live in. Now, this is during a time when supposedly you're supposed to have a lot of snow and ice. The snow and ice, when it melts in the spring, is what gives the rivers of the west the water that actually sustains life throughout the entire west. Yes?
Can you just, if people have eyes like mine, can you just mention the states that you're saying, you know, the area, like the general states?
Oh yeah, that's like Texas?
Like
Yeah,
Texas?
there's Texas, Colorado, Nevada, Utah, Southern California, and further on up toward Canada.
Has been having a drought?
When you see red is extreme drought.
Extreme drought.
Extreme drought means no rain or snow or ice for months.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So that's very intense. This is one of the more intense times.
And that was this past spring?
So that was 2003.
This is
Oh,
2003 March.
Okay.
Now, this is January of 2008. The reason I brought this slide up, you can see that the southeast of the United States is in a extreme drought period of time too. This is a time when the governor of Georgia led a prayer for rain on the steps of the state capitol. He did get a little bit. This is also the time when George Bush had to send envoys down to stop a war between Tennessee, Florida, and Georgia over the water supply coming out of Tennessee. It got that intense. So you can see southeast, southwest, not great areas. Also the central part of the United States, not great areas to live in. But you also see areas like the eastern part of North America here from South Carolina up, all the way into Canada, not too bad. The Great Lakes area, right around the Great Lakes, not too bad. And also all the way up from middle California up the west coast into Alaska, not too bad. So if you're going to survive, it will be in these areas. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty intensely dry, and we're just in the very beginnings of the drought.
So we're kind of on the edge then.
We're on the edge, but we get our rain from we get our water from the Potomac, which is in West Virginia and Pennsylvania Highlands. We're cool here, but we're on the very edge.
Right.
Now this is from February 28th of 2010, just a few months ago. Gives you an idea. Well, the Yucatan of Mexico is not very good. This is what broke the back of the Mayan civilization, droughts like this. You also see that, again, the west here is not in great shape. But you also see that our area here has yet to have any major drought areas. So if you want to, basically, you're in a good spot right here. Going to much other spots, you have to be real careful. You really know what you're doing. You really know your local conditions. Now, this is the January 2004. Again, you see the Middle West, the Rocky Mountain area, from Texas all the way up. Not very viable. And it just keeps being, you'll find these areas have, there's certain consistency of how areas are having drought. This is why both Las Vegas and LA are not great areas to move to. Las Vegas already is having major issues, and so is LA. They get a lot of their water from the Colorado. Colorado gets its water from during the winter time here from the snow. It's supposed to melt. If the snow doesn't come, you don't get the spring floods. You don't get the watershed essentially rehydrated. So these are areas that are very nasty. Oh, let's see what else we have in here. This is mostly Southern California. This is earthquake monitoring. Another reason why LA is not a great area. You'll see there's quite a number of earthquakes. You can see actually the fault lines up there. And so this area right around LA has lots of earthquakes. There's one here just relatively recently, a few months ago. That was fairly large. Started in Baja, California, Mexico, and worked its way up and was felt in LA. All it would take would be a major earthquake through the tunnel that brings the Colorado River water into LA. If that tunnel should ever collapse, the LA would have to be evacuated.
It's a man-made tunnel?
There's a tunnel through a mountain that brings the Colorado River water into LA. And as you see, it's right in the middle of a major earthquake zone. So if this earthquake ever hits and broke that tunnel, you would not be in good shape in LA. Your only best shot would be by land. You have to go up north where the water is. Your best shot actually would be by boat. So if you lived in LA, you should have a boat. So you can go up by the ocean. So if you have friends in LA, tell them to leave. Do them a favor. This is a site, actually from another site within the NOAA. This shows where the heaviest amount of extreme heat across the planet is. Now, you will notice that in North America here, this has the highest amount of heat. So this is climate change, what's getting hotter. North America is getting much hotter. You also see some up in Siberia there too. And you see a little bit in the Mideast. But most of the rest of the continent is not in too bad shape. Matter of fact, this part of Kamchatka in Siberia, just south of major Siberia, is actually getting cooler. So
Wow, I was just planning on moving there.
So, if, you know, the trouble with that area is heavy volcanic activity.
Wow.
And there's basically nothing there but Siberian tigers and things like that. It's very, very much a heavy wilderness area. So you can see North America here is having a major amount of heat. Now, usually what happens when climate change happens, North America takes the brunt of it. It is called the catastrophe continent for a good reason. And this is one of the reasons why. We have glaciers in North America and across the planet. North America has the most amount of glaciers. Now, this may not show up real well either.
Wow.
This is actually in southwestern Pennsylvania. This is a message from the Great Spirit. This is a male white buffalo. Now, in the Lakota tradition, right behind it is his sister, a black buffalo. Now, this is again in southwestern Pennsylvania where you do not find wild buffalo. This was a female bison that was actually in a zoo. It had 4 years ago, 6 years ago, it had a normal calf. Then without any male input, 4 years ago, this white buffalo male showed up. All the other previous 7 white buffaloes were female. Now, they're white buffalo while they're babies. And juveniles, they become orange. And then they change colors. Now, 6 months after that, his sister, the black buffalo, was born. Now, a black buffalo is also quite rare. But the gestation period for a bison is 9 months. Again, this is without any male bison input. So part of what happens is, in the tribes, when you see the white buffalo showing up, this is not a good sign.
So when you say no male input, was that buffalo caged in?
Correct.
Okay,
It was
so
in a zoo.
It was in a zoo. So
And
there's
there is no
way-
wild buffalo in southwestern Pennsylvania.
Okay, so it just got impregnated without any input, you're
As
saying?
far as we know, it is scientifically impossible for this to happen,
Okay,
as far as we know.
so that's part of the
Now,
problem.
this is not an albino, because albino stayed white the entire time. This was when it was a calf, it was white. This is a juvenile male now, it is orange, and it gets darker as it gets older, hence not an albino.